The land stretches endless in every direction, golden plains giving way to rolling hills, wind whispering through the sparse trees. A storm lingers on the horizon, the sky bruised purple. The Whitmore Ranch sits at the center of it all, a modest homestead that has seen better days. A simple wooden cross stands in freshly turned soil. The wind kicks up dust curling around Eleanor Whitmore, who stands motionless before her husband's grave. James Whitmore is dead, buried in the earth, just a pile of bones and regrets now. She doesn't cry. She doesn't kneel in prayer. Instead, she stares at his name, carved in crude letters into the wood. Her black dress, a remnant of her southeastern upbringing, feels like a costume now. Too clean, too proper for a place like this. In her hands, she clutches a folded letter, a list of debts owed to the bank and a final warning from the land office. She takes a shaky breath, kneeling slowly, presses a gloved hand to the dirt as if waiting for an answer. She speaks quietly.
You always were a liar, James. I don't even know if you were worth all this trouble.
The wind shifts, carrying a faint burning smell. Just the kitchen fire, she tells herself. She tucks the letter into her pocket and stands. The sun sinks lower, casting the plains in molten gold. She walks back toward the house, her shadow stretched long behind her. The small home is quiet. Too quiet. Candles flicker in their holders. The fireplace sits unlit, the shadows stretching long across the wooden floor. Eleanor moves through the dimly lit kitchen, setting a single plate at the table. She then sits, staring at a hand-drawn map she found among James's things. The loneliness is suffocating. She pulls a ledger book closer, running a finger down the columns of debt. The numbers don't lie. James left her with nothing but bills. A knock shatters the silence. She stiffens, hand hovering over the rifle propped against the table. Another knock, louder. She moves toward the window, carefully peeling back the curtain. A man on horseback. Not the bank collector. Not a neighbor. A stranger. The man dismounts, a scarred brute with a black duster and cold eyes.
Evening. Mrs. Whitmore, I presume.
Eleanor cracks the door slightly.
If you don't certainly mind, I need to have word with you.
And with whom do I have the wonderful privilege of speaking?
The man smiles, showing yellowed teeth.
Just a fella, looking for something your husband owed me. Now, I intend you no harm, ma'am. So long as we get what we came here for, it's really up to you on how this all plays out.
He steps closer, boots heavy on the porch.
Now we can have a nice talk, and you can hand it over. Or we can make this harder than it needs to be.
The hairs on Eleanor's neck rise. Behind him, 3 more riders spread out near the barn. One carries an oil canister. She grips the rifle behind the door.
I don't have anything of James. Whatever business you had with him ain't got nothing to do with me. So, you'd better go on and leave my property, if you know what's good for you.
The man sighs, rolling a matchstick between his fingers.
Now see, that's just where you and I differ. I'm not leaving without what I came for.
The other men start spreading out, pulling oil canisters from their saddlebags. He flicks the match, letting the tiny flame dance. Behind him, the first torch is thrown. The barn ignites. Eleanor gasps, shutting the door, but he catches it, getting his foot in.
This is your last chance, ma'am. Hand over that fucking map. I hope you don't think that we rode all the way out here just to take nothing. Well, we're taking something. Either that map, or your life.
The word cuts through her. Map. She doesn't know what it means, but James left behind something these men want, and they'll burn everything down to get it. She shoves the rifle barrel into his gut. Boom! The shot rips through him. He staggers, howling, but he isn't dead. Eleanor runs, grabbing the satchel of belongings off the table. Flames roar into the sky. The outlaws shout, closing in. Eleanor bolts toward the trees, dodging gunfire. Her lungs burn. Her heart slams against her ribs. Then, a sudden flash of movement. A black horse thunders toward her. Someone leans down, snatching her by the arm. She barely registers the woman's face before the horse whisks her away into the night. The last thing she sees, her home collapsing into fire. Eleanor wakes to the sound of cracking branches. Her body aches, bruised and stiff. She's wrapped in a heavy fur cloak, one that isn't hers. A fire crackles nearby. A horse stands tethered to a tree, and a woman watches her. Nokoma. Tall, steady, her face without expression. She turns a rabbit on a spit, not looking up as Eleanor stirs.
You sleep like a woman who hasn't run for her life before.
Eleanor tries to sit up, pain flaring through her ribs.
Who the hell are you?
Nokoma glances at her, unimpressed.
The one who saved you from certain death.
Eleanor's mind is a whirl. The fire, the men, the map. She instinctively reaches inside her dress. The parchment is still there. Nokoma notices. Her eyes narrow slightly.
That paper there, that is why they came after you, correct?
Eleanor doesn't answer. Nokoma tosses her a canteen.
There, drink. You are of no use to me if you are dead.
Eleanor glares but takes a sip. She studies the woman across from her. Nokoma isn't dressed like the other natives Eleanor has seen. She wears sturdy leather boots, a rifle slung across her back. A woman used to survival.
So, where are we at exactly?
Not far enough.
She finally meets Eleanor's gaze.
If they came for you once, they'll come again.
Eleanor swallows. She already knows that. Her fingers curl around the edge of the map. James left something behind. Something worth killing for. And this woman, whoever she is, knows more than she's letting on. Nokoma stands, grabbing her rifle.
Eat. Rest. You'll need your strength. Trust me.
Eleanor watches her disappear into the trees. She doesn't trust this woman, but she's all she has now.